the Rafinha situation? Because obviously, we've got Sean here as a Spurs fan. You guys are kind of looking at him a bit. Rafinha's been looked at a bit by Chelsea. Arsenal kind of leading the way. Is this a case of Arsenal having more pull, Arsenal beating you to the punch, or is it more we've just got different targets? Like, where do we think this sits and where do we think it stands?
Yeah. Go on, sorry.
Go on, Corey.
I think I don't listen. You know what I mean? I Tottenham. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna be real. The whole thing about Paul. I think that's going out the window now. I think it's literally showing intent to actually buy this player. You know what I mean? Like he says, his first choice is Barcelona. Let's not get that twisted. If Barcelona cough up the money, he's going to Barcelona. But the opportunity is being presented because they're struggling financially to afford him. Or now there's reports coming out saying that no, you know what I mean, they're looking at other options. Between us and Tottenham, I think it's 50-50. I think it could go either way. Yes, you know what I mean, they've got Kulusevski, but they need competition for him more. So same with Saka. You know what I mean? I think it might be something that we don't need to immediately look at, but I think it's still a priority position because he got burnt out last season. But again, we've still got a World Cup to come up as well. Him playing throughout the whole season and then to play a World Cup potentially, he won't last. And you saw towards the end of the season, the young players, the burnt out, they couldn't handle the pressure. That's what I mean. I think for me, the fact that he's come out to, you know what I mean, that we're interested in him, I'm all for it. I think it's 50-50. If we put the money up, then it's, you know what I mean, maybe the Edu factor that he's, you know what I mean, Brazilian and whatnot, but they've got Conte, you know what I mean? So in my eyes, that's why, and they can offer Champions League. So, you know what I mean, it could be 50-50. I don't think we have necessarily a bigger pull in this situation.
What about yourself, Sean? I mean, because I've seen some Fuad, obviously a big Spurs fan, has kind of said we're clearly going for Richarlison because we can't get Rafinha because Arsenal are, but whatever makes you feel better at night. Do you think this is a case of Spurs going for their number one target, or do you think they're missing out on Rafinha because Arsenal are getting him? Like, where do you see it as a fan?
I think Tottenham have got more options in the wing forward, which Rafinha can't play as a number 9, right? And we need someone who can do everything. Or ideally, we need to get 2 people. One of them could be Rafinha. One of them could be Richarlison. I think Richarlison fits the bill as a front 3. He can play anywhere. I don't think Rafinha can play in all 3 positions. But what I would say is I genuinely do think that playing time at a club is more of a draw than I used to give it credit for. I think the reason why Gabriel Jesus is probably going to choose Arsenal over, if Tottenham were interested, I'm not sure if they were, but other teams, is because, you know, he doesn't want to leave a club like Manchester City where he can't get on the team to come to a step down to Tottenham, which, as much as I hate to say it, Tottenham are a step down from United, and Arsenal and Spurs back and forth wherever. But at Arsenal, he's going to get more playing time. I think Sterling would get more playing time at Chelsea than he would at Tottenham, and Sterling was supposed to be interesting to Tottenham as well. And I think Rafinha is probably in that mold as well. I think there is, as much as we think that Tottenham have got, you know, the best manager, the you know, playing alongside whoever, Romero, Kane, Sonny, all that stuff, the best training ground, the best stadium, and Champions League. It sounds like a wonderful package, but to some players, they don't want to take that step down to all of those wonderful things, but to come to a team that haven't done it yet and still only have to compete for their space on the team. And I think Rafinha would be one of those teams. So I actually respectfully disagree, probably in your favour, mate. I think that Arsenal probably have a better draw for Rafinha, and the same with Jesus, than Tottenham do, because I think that both of those will get more playing time in your club than they would at Tottenham as a first instance. So I think that for me, I don't know, Richarlison seems like the one that could fit the bill more. I'm not particularly bothered about Richarlison anyway. I don't particularly want him, especially not for a club record, Terry. But I do think that playing time is more of a draw than I would think it, or than most people give it credit for.
I completely agree, and I think that, you know, Jesus is a prime example. He wants to be the main guy, the main man, and Arsenal went straight in and said, that's what we'll give you. And I think Rafinha is also feeling that. I think he's feeling that. I mean, a lot of Arsenal fans want to kind of push this back and say absolutely no chance, but he's better than Saka, and he'll be You're not going to spend in and around £70 million on a player
to sit on your bench.
That's not a backup. You know, and Arsenal are also not in a position to buy backups. Arsenal, Man United, and Tottenham, in my opinion, barring a striker or Tottenham as an example, our squads aren't good enough to buy backups. We need to be buying better first team players and pushing what's in our starting lineup onto the bench and making them fight it out. Like, none of our clubs are in a position to really go out right now and buy a Shaqiri. Do you know what I mean? Like, or we're going to buy a McTominay for midfield just because we need a bit of backup. No, we've already got one of them. We need better than what we've got to try and elevate things massively. And I think you're right. I think it's all about the positioning and who's right and who's wrong for people when it comes to some of these signings. You know, you think about Raheem Sterling. He's been looked at by Tottenham, but they've got Son. And there is a debate to be had. Who's better, Son or Sterling? Like, it'll be split. You know, it won't be a landslide, but it'll be split. But you look at Chelsea, Raheem Sterling, Dembele, Rafinha. I mean, interestingly, I think Rafinha could get into that team. Raheem Sterling becomes the best attacker at Chelsea overnight.
100%.
They've got no one that's better than him. He walks into that team, no questions asked. So
100%.
yeah, it's an intriguing one for me.
Underrated. I think Richarlison's a bit underrated. I'm not like I don't.
Really?
Yeah, I do. He played for Everton. Like, Everton's terrible, and he still does. He's for me. Every time I've watched him play, he provides a bit of a threat. Like, he has like a presence about him. I'm not saying he's going to go to Tottenham and be the best player ever, but I think if I'm Tottenham, and I agree, you're not looking for backups, but Kulusevski.
Emmanuel Dennis got more goals from open play than Richarlison in a Watford team.
But he's not always playing centrally, right? And he didn't play a lot. He was hurt. He was hurt a lot. So he plays across the line. So Kulusevski had 1 year, right? Kane gets hurt a bunch. He didn't last year, which was great. Good for him. No. He gets hurt a bunch. You're not buying, in my opinion, a squad player. You're buying somebody who's probably going to play a decent amount of games for you, like more than Bergwijn played, right? So
he'd be a club record signing, though. And I don't want to see a club record signing come in and sit on the bench.
The money part, I don't agree with. So I wasn't thinking about the money. That's a fair point.
For me personally, it's like, for what you're getting with Richarlison, you can get that cheaper somewhere else.
Yeah,
that's simple. Yeah. That's simple.
Several other places.
I think, again, from a Chelsea point of view, if you look at Richarlison, I think they've already got Richarlison's. No, because you are linked to him. I think Ziyech.
He's no better than Werner.
Yeah, I don't really think he is. He scores.
He'll run around. He'll run around. He'll press, and he can score penalties.
Mate, I agree with you. I think that Chelsea already have got Richarlison. It's such a weird signing for me. He's one of those players that 2 or 3 years ago was there's a lot of hype around him, and I know he's been at Everton and they've been run poorly, but he kind of turns up like 1 in 4. I guarantee you at Spurs when he arrived, he'll be a 1 in 4 player. Every 4 games you'll go, wow, look at what we've got. And then all the games outside of that, you won't see much from him. He'll do some special things. He'll score some important goals. He'll wind a few. You know, he'll be great in a North London derby. He'll square up to a few gooners. He might be 3-0 up in a game and he gets a red card for, you know, an Arsenal player. And some Spurs fans will go, yeah, great. But he isn't going. I don't think for the 60, 70 odd million I've seen him linked to. I honestly think you'd be better off spending that money on Calvert-Lewin and having him as a backup striker for that much money would be better spend than on Richarlison. Rafinha, on the other hand, I think is an absolute gem, and I think that everybody should be. Look, I look at it. Man United got a problem on the right, and I know we want Anthony, but it's almost like if we can't get Anthony. So if Arsenal, for instance, next week secure Lisandro Martinez, and then Anthony isn't being sold for love or money, because that's basically half the Ajax first team's gone. If they say that's it, we're selling no one else, and we've still got an opening, like, we have to make an attempt at Rafinha because we need to fix that right hand side. And I know there's a report that's just come out in the last hour or so that said that from Simon Peach, very respected United journalist, who has said here that it's understood that a box-to-box midfielder is seen as key for Ten Hag's rebuild, but also he's very much going to give an opportunity to previous out-of-favour players. He's going to give them a chance, which, again, you might be able to plug a hole if Martial suddenly turns it back on his charm for a year or two. But I think Man United fans have got to realise that we're just in a different space to all the other teams, probably barring Spurs. This is the first summer of this rebuild. We are going to end, like, Man United fans have got to wake up and smell the coffee and understand that at the end of this summer, there will still likely be holes and multiple positions where we got to improve there. You know, Luke Shaw, I think Ten Hag can get a season out of him, and then we know whether or not he's good. Do you get where I'm coming from? Like, we can't replace every position. It's going to be absolutely impossible. Even